Hey guys, what's going on? It's Art Supplies. Welcome back to another track walkthrough. Today I'm going through my edit of Diplo and Sidepieces track on my mind. As soon as I heard the vocal, there was just like absolutely no way I could let it pass. So I had to have a go, and what I really liked about the original was the groove of it, and then obviously the catchy as vocal. So I wanted to create a little bit more main room club version, bring in some extra beef, some extra sort of slappiness and rawness to it, and then essentially try and bring up the energy a bit. So we're going to dive into the project. I'm going to show you how I made a few things, and hopefully you learned something today. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, because it's really important to keep up to date with what I'm doing. There'll be hopefully weekly tutorials coming very soon, as well as, you know, lots of edits, lots of tracks, lots of things like this, track walkthroughs. So subscribe, leave a like. It's really important. Thank you very much. Let's dive in. So first part, I want to show you the original and sort of how I would take the original if I don't have an acapella. So for this instance, I literally ripped, I think, the MP3. Actually, no, I can't have done that. Surely I didn't do that. That's just criminal. Maybe I got the actual, bought the file. Let's hope I did that. And then let's go through and have a look. So what I've done on the original is, you can see I've taken off the low end here and then sort of boosted around where I feel the vocal sits a little bit, and then taken off some of the tops. So that gives me room to add in percussion up the top and then layer under some bass underneath, and fill the track out while still keeping the main elements in there, and especially the vocal, as that's probably the main part that I wanted to get. Next, I pretty much have some automated reverb coming on, just to kind of tie a few sections together. You'll be able to see that later on, but that is essentially it. Oh, you can see it right here. It's right at the end. It just flicks out to be the last part of the track. So essentially just one EQ on the whole track, and that's going to take out the low end, and I rewrote underneath. I did do a lot of chops on the vocal. So if we open up this vocal chop thing here, I've got a build, this one first of all. So this one, let's solo it. Don't actually know what this is doing. Oh yeah, so that's my my echo. So you can hear it going ping pong. Yeah, so that's the effect that I put on there. A little bit of a same thing, but I've ping ponged the delay over here, so you can see it automated comes on. Flick side to side. That's what gives it that drive. So I found that if you add that, especially on housey tunes and stuff that the vocal's really driving like that, if you add the quarter note rebound of the delay, especially ping-ponged a little bit, or, you know, stereo, it really helps to drive along the song after that little section. In here, I've got the actual chops on my mind. Yeah, chops back and forth, just to make it a little bit more interesting. Rather than just have that rolling vocal over the top, I wanted to create a little bit of a chop. And all I did was create sections. So if you have a look in here, I took like a section of the actual track, and then automated different parts of it based on the arpeggiator. It's probably a more roundabout way of doing things. You can actually just chop the parts of the song that you want up into audio. I don't know why I did this. I think I was playing around trying to do something else, and it worked out like this. But anyway, this is what it sounds like. And what I did was put on a vocal distortion. So you can see it here. I've made this one, but I'll show you how it works. If we just open this up. So it's from Butch Vig Vocals. It's a Waves plugin. Pretty crazy looking thing, but essentially it's a backing vocals filter preset, which kind of pulls it into the background like you're on an old school telephone or something like that. And I've just essentially mapped it to a dry wet macro here, and then I'm able to just adjust the dry wet here. I think I've just got it, yeah, so it's a whole bunch of distortion early on and then comes down into the drop, a little bit less distortion for that funky thing. And it also separates it a hell of a lot from the actual like main vocal. If it's something different, the chop sounds like a lead almost, rather than just like sticking the vocal over it again. It sounds a bit boring. So that's where I took the original, and then everything else I wrote underneath to give it extra oomph. I layered my own kick, simple kick with some basic EQ processing just to thump out some of the stronger elements. Percussion, just simple hat and snare that I added because a lot of the percussion was already in there, a lot of the top, so I just wanted a couple of little extra things in there. Effects, sweeps and things just to tie it together. Now the leads and the bass is probably where, you know, all of the extra energy comes from and the extra oomph. In the leads, for example, I've got the saw lead. That's the main one that you'll hear throughout it, where you're going, yep, that's what I've heard. We'll listen to that by itself. I got my bird sitting next to me, having a little chat. Yeah, so this is just a saw wave in Serum, Superstar from Vandalism, and then I've tweaked it a little bit in the effects rack just to get it kind of a bit more saturated, compressed, distorted, that kind of thing. EQ, compression, Camel Crusher is a really good one. Tube Warmth, it's a simple setting and it just like beefs up, I reckon, the whole like sound. I played around with that, but it's obviously not on. And then I've got a reverb chain going on as well. I've probably explained this in another video already, but I'll quickly go through it again. I'm just running through different settings, so you can sidechain it back to the original like lead. So the lead will play, and then that's the reverb that gets caused by that is then sidechained back to the original drive signal. So when the drive signal pumps through, the actual reverb ducks out. And that's just how I've done that. I might give that away for free one day because why not? Let's help each other out. EQ, sidechain, and then some other reverb that's just sitting on there for fun. Oh yeah, it's for me to create these reverses. So I would whack on a massive reverb, 7 or 8 seconds, and then yeah, just bounce it to audio and then reverse it, and then we have our lead in. And then it's got more. Just a groovy pattern. Then we go back up again. So, just powerful saw, like, you know, just pumped in there. Give it a bit more. Groovy lead, let's have a listen to what this does. Adding movement, adding groove, adding rhythm, just kind of getting that drive. That's another energy type thing. It's just a kind of simple, look, on the root note the whole way through, which is a G, and we're just playing a simple rhythm, bump, 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 just on the offbeats, and kind of when you're throwing offbeats here and there and like late 16ths and things, it really helps to drive along the pattern rather than just having it strictly on the beat. Sparks bit, so this I put into the last drop. You can listen to this. Kind of sounds like Will Sparks, kind of blippy lead. Again, something for extra energy and also something for a bit of variation from drop 1 to drop 2. The original drop in here has these cool like percussion parts and that original massive like hit with the saw. So I kept that in there. We'll listen. So like that kind of stuff I loved. That was still in there. Couldn't cut that out. I just beefed up around it, like I said. And I've got this rave lead. Let's call it funny things. Again, adding more pump, adding more atmosphere, body to it to really carry out the last part of the drop. And then bass. Bass was so simple. It's just like a simple low end and then a simple sort of mid bass that carried through. So this mid bass was essentially a lower end of that top saw. And then it's like, and that just added, I know it's got a fair bit of a release on it, but that just added the kind of that extra bit that we needed down in the low mids. Then the bass. This one's, I've used this before. It's based off a Harper preset in Serum, and then I've pumped it through a whole bunch of processing, but I've been through that before, so maybe you can find that. So it's clicking a fair bit. You know, if I was doing this again now, I'd probably, you know, going through and clicking, change that click. There's so many things, like I bet every producer's the same, that you'd go back through and listen to something and go, I could have done that better. It's just natural. That's probably one of those things, but in the mix, you don't actually hear it too much. And especially on that first like hit, it actually, that click adds a bit of, you know, emphasis. So I'm not too fussed that it's there. And I'm sure you couldn't tell before I soloed it. And then just a bomb, simple sub drop in there. So that's essentially the track that shows you how to build around something that's not just an acapella, because, you know, quite often we can't find the acapella for songs, but we want to do our own versions of them. So you've got to be creative. You've got to be able to like fit that track and then sort of fit the elements around it. It's like taking, you know, like a half-drawn picture and sort of adding the rest of it. You just kind of turn it into your own thing. So have a play around. Hopefully you learned something today. Drop a comment down below if you want to say something, you know, point out anything in the project that was mind-blowing or stupid. But otherwise, again, thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more. We'll see you again soon. Take care.